Pat.
What's up, Zarwar?
How's life?
Doing awesome.
Beautiful. I just got some short questions for you today. Let's have you take a go at them.
Let's get at it.
All right, first question. How do you use loans in real estate?
Good question. So, of course, there's your standard mortgage, which you go to the bank or a private lender, and then they will essentially fund, anywhere from 75, 80, even 95% of the purchase price. Traditional banking, unless you go to private route. The other side is more the creative financing, being able to access other people's money that are not banks or private institutions, but really private individuals, right? So really I have a list of people that I can call, and if I need a couple $1,000, or even I have a few people I can reach out for $1 million. They're not cheap. It's a little bit more expensive. There is a cost to money, but essentially I'm finding capital, I'm finding debt and loans to fund the mortgage side, to fund sometimes even a down payment, and of course the renovation money. So that's really the key when it comes to creative financing, is just having access, having a Rolodex or a list of people that you can just call up and have access to funds. Call to action!
Hey, if you're interested in learning how we can work together, whether it be in real estate or hey, maybe you want to get some mentoring, make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search me up, Patrick J. Hilario, and I'd love to connect with you on a professional basis on LinkedIn.
At what % do you offer?
Good question. So I try to customize all of that depending on like my friends and family that reach out, that want to work with me as a money partner. That being said, we're always trying to beat the banks, right? So the lowest I've really offered has been around like the 4, 5, 6% mark. I've lent out money as high, like as myself being the lender, I'll ask for as high as 20% or even some equity into a deal. As a borrower, whenever I'm using other people's funds for deals, I'll try and get that around 12, 10, 15, 9%. Again, it's all custom, just because if you give me a large amount, I'm more incentivized to pay for that and have that cost of money. If my cousin or a friend is only giving me $1,000 or so, they're obviously not going to get like 10% or anything, but it's all custom. Really got to make sure that it makes sense not only for myself, whether I'm the borrower or the lender, but also with my money partner if they're the borrower or lender. I want to make it a win-win situation here. Call to action!
Hey, do you have a question you really want to ask me? Make sure that you send me an email. I read all these emails. Email me at patrickhilario@hilarioholdings.com. Send me your questions there, and I'd love to connect with you and help you out with that.
Perfect. And could you write this off?
Great question. Yeah, so the tax rules here in Canada basically state that as long as I'm using these funds for the purpose of real estate or the purpose of building out the business, that we can write off the interest portion of this. So it is essentially a write-off. And talk to your accountants about that, because you don't want to just start borrowing money without having a plan in place of how that will impact your tax strategy.
When using debt in real estate, what will be the next renovation in your current projects?
Nice. So right now we're doing a burr on a duplex. That's our Kent deal. And all we really need to do is a little bit of finishing. We have some like trims, a little bit of painting to finish up. I believe it's just the last finishing part of the project. I haven't really visited the project for a while. I've been traveling back and forth with Edmonton and Manitoba. That being said, my partner's been taking care of that. And yeah, it's really just finishing the rest of it. We actually already have a tenant in place, so that helps a lot. But essentially, it's just finishing, like a little bit of trims, baseboards, a little bit of touch-up paint, and then the house is basically ready for putting tenants in and then having the refinance process done.
Nice. And what is the budget for this?
So that one was a pretty large project. We budgeted around $70,000. The big piece was the fire suppression system. So I think that cost us around $44,000. And this was necessary because we're working with an agency for differently abled people. And it's going to be a mixed use, meaning some people are let's say, semi-independent. Other people are a little bit more dependent on like their social workers and whatnot. So we really needed to be to code with this multifamily kind of mixed dwelling, in that we had to make sure that that fire system was in place. So, okay, anything happens, everyone's safe, everyone can be taken care of. And that was a larger piece of our renovations. And luckily, they do offer grants, and the agency that we're working with has been awesome in working with us and making sure that they can communicate with the government, we can communicate with our needs and the city permits and what's necessary, because we're actually one of the first companies to be piloting this kind of renovation and project for differently abled people.
Beautiful. And what kind of challenges would you face with this?
This one was, a big one was finding the capital, because we had these unexpected expenses, right? Like we weren't really sure about what needed to be renovated at first. First, we just thought it was going to be kitchen, bath, flooring, paint, your regular burr. And then now there's like, okay, well, there's other rules and regulations that we need to follow because it was a mixed dwelling and because we were preparing this for differently abled people. So that was a big challenge of, okay, we thought it was only going to be like $50,000 for the renovation, and then now there's like extra funds that we got to go and get. That being said, I'm not new to the whole process of raising capital, and I've done a few flips and a few deals where, hey, we need another cash infusion, and it's just up to me to either find the money or generate the money. And depending on what's easier at the time and what makes sense based on our plan, then that's kind of the challenge, where it's like, hey, if we need extra money, it's like, hey, do we got to go out there and generate that, actually have that money brought in by our own clients, or do I just find and get access and, you know, call my Rolodex, call my list of money partners, and then get the money that way?
Call to action. If I could ask you a quick favor, if you can go on Amazon and just give me a review on my book, How to Never Be Broke Again, it would mean the world to me. It helps me actually get ahead of the algorithm, present this information to even more people, because I know it can help a lot of people, and you guys have been getting some of that support, getting that help, and thanks so much for everyone who's bought the book. Please give that book a review. It means the world to me.
Perfect. And what would you do if you go over cost?
Over cost, then basically that's what we would do. We would just find the money, whether we generate those funds or whether we get access to capital. I know it's simplifying a little bit, but that's kind of the beauty of once you understand how money works, I'm no longer limited to the amount of capital that I have right now. But it's always like, okay, how do I have more access? This is why you see me talk about networking a lot. This is why you see me talking about the importance of being able to be a good marketer, being able to be a good salesperson. Because if you can market and sell, and you can raise capital, then you have essentially an unlimited access to money for continually buying these deals. And of course, you know, you got to be financially literate enough to balance the risks that come with that. But hey, if I run out of money, then I just immediately go to the question, okay, I'm out of money, how do I get more? And the answer is simple. It's either I find it, get access, or I generate it and create an income.
Beautiful. That wraps up this interview. Thank you, Pat, and we'll catch you next time.
Awesome. It was a pleasure. I'll see you guys next time.